Hello there, and welcome to this week's edition of Creative Critique. Now, the newly released theatrical film that I've been to see this week is the newest film from director and screenwriter Shane Black. The film in question is The Nice Guys. This is indeed a director's special, though, as well, a Shane Black director's special. So therefore, my classic film will also feature a film of his works. But considering the fact that he's only directed 3 films, you know it's going to be pretty much which other film is going to be in the classic department, it's fair to say. But I'll start and begin with his newest film, The Nice Guys, which stars Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling as a pair of, well, in Gosling's case, a private detective, and in Crowe's case, hired muscle, in the LA scene in the late 1970s. They come together coincidentally and again get wrapped up and involved in a case of a missing girl, and effectively a case of people associated with what she's doing dying around her. So now anybody who does know the works of Shane Black, and even if it's directors or even screenplays, as a writer, he is tended to be quite heavily involved in the crime caper sort of genre of writing, but with heavily comedic aspects to them. He's most famous for, of course, the Lethal Weapon, his Lethal Weapon screenplay, and in the early 90s, him writing many screenplays that kind of he set the bar of getting paid for. Let me put it that way. So, yeah, we have an individual here who's quite known for witty screenplays, not always critically successful. I mean, financially, he's quite critically, definitely on that side, very successful, because he lends a kind of sense of different writing to the writing landscape, but not always financially successful. His hits are big, but when they misses, they are misses. So in the case of this one, I think it's a truly fabulous film, and I think it's wonderfully comedic. I like the trailer for the film. I did go into this with decent hopes, considering I liked his previous film, his previous sort of similar film, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and I thought this could be in the same sort of vein, and it certainly was. It obviously focused on particularly a crime and 2 individuals who get mucked up in it, investigating it, effectively. But this is not a simple detective story by any means. It is by far heavily comedic, some beautifully written dialogue, and therefore that creates some wonderful chemistry between the likes of Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling. I mean, Russell Crowe, for all his faults as an actor, there's something about him in that sort of role, and it partly reminded me of his LA Confidential sort of stuff, and that is no coincidence, is it really? Let's face it, considering the appearance of a certain Kim Basinger later in the film as well. I think the director intentionally, particularly in the case of Basinger involvement there, creating that sort of nod and a wink to the industry, if you will. But I think there's 2 great performances from the likes of Gosling and from Russell Crowe. But what is most interesting is most certainly how much I did laugh, because how can I put this? Like I said, I did like what I saw in the trailer. I thought, oh, this could be quite funny. There was moments where I thought that was wonderfully funny, and not just sort of that's very well written. I mean, there was absolutely laugh out loud. And one moment where I actually lost control of laughter, which is what you're meant to do, aren't you? So wonderfully humorous, wonderfully performed. Oh, some completely just obscure sort of tones of humour. The best, by the part of there's loads of great scenes in the film, but my favourite scene was effectively where Crowe and Gosling have gone to a party to try and possibly investigate, obviously, part of this crime, and go to the party and interview, maybe, or try and speak to people who might have known this girl. The goings on at the party, whether it's the fact that there's some living art at this film, and that's something that's prominent in one of his previous films, Kiss Bang Bang. Again, so it's a recurring sort of theme he has in sort of some of his films. some wonderfully observant humour and some later humour in the scene as well that references back to little things that just went on in the earlier things. So it's not something that, oh, that's funny. It's sort of something that adds on. It's a joke later that references back, and it's really, really, really good. There's a, I don't even mention the fact that in the film, Ryan Gosling has a daughter played by Anne-Jorie Rice, and she is fabulous as well. As aspected in involving herself as a young amateur detective in helping them, hopefully. And this isn't just a little kid being quirky. This is a kid actually being very, very helpful and being probably in part almost better sometimes than the actual detectives themselves. It's wonderfully costumed. It's completely, like I say, you go with it. You absolutely go with it. I really, really did enjoy it. Like I say, but I think in part because I like that sort of style and that tone. Now, for this sort of film, he's like I said previously, his sort of films with this sort of tones have never been greatly financially successful. And I think in part because they never quite know how to market. I think they've marketed this one a lot better this time round. It created a bit of buzz from a few people I associate with and been cinema with and just generally talk films with. It's just about made its budget back, I believe, and it's been out a month in America and about 3 weeks here in the UK. So it's gonna make it's made its money back, and it's probably gonna make a nice profit. Maybe not a great profit, but hopefully it'll be the sort of thing that hopefully get more stuff like this pushed through the Hollywood directing and script writing scheme to him. Because like I say, he has wrote this script and directed it again. It's produced by his longtime collaborator Joe Silver, who of course produced Lethal Weapon and helped him make Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. I keep referencing that film, so I think we all know this is going to be my classic film of the week. I just thought it was just superbly enjoyable and relentless. Some truly laugh out loud moments, some greatly witty stuff. There was one thing that I was like, that wasn't really needed, and it was in reference to just a little kind of like it's a cutaway, not a cutaway sort of thing, but kind of a sort of hallucination sort of thing or dreaming sort of thing. And I was like, this completely feels like you've just stepped into the world of fear and loathing at this very moment in time. And although there's stuff in the film that's has tones of that sort of film, it doesn't quite in keep with the rest of it. Personally, I thought it was a little bit was it forced? Maybe kind of, and maybe the detective felt that he was being a bit more adventurous. It didn't need to be, because I thought the film was adventurous enough with what he was doing. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful film, crime comedy caper, and that sort of genre is not explored enough, is it? I thought it was great. The other guys, one problem I think I had with it is the name of it, because not the other guys, the nice guys. There we go. See, already that can be a perfect example of. I think it's not a great title for the film, and it doesn't market it particularly well. I think the actual trailer and stuff marketed it well, but the actual name of the film doesn't really do it any justice in terms of sell it to an audience. A little bit more, possibly, invention could have gone into the title of the film, but that's just aesthetic stuff, isn't it? You know what I mean? We're having actual material qualities of the film, which was really enjoyable and really good. There we go. The Nice Guys was my theatrical release film of the week, and greatly, wonderfully, I wonderfully enjoyed it. Yeah, there we go. The Nice Guys. Now, my classic film of the week, as I previously said, is going to be featured a film again of Shane Black, and it makes it Shane Black directed a special. And I think you know that the film in question is going to be Kiss Kiss Bang Bang from 11 years ago, from 2005. And really, it's the film, isn't it, that birthed Robert Downey Jr. into our film watching world again. Everyone obviously goes straight to Iron Man. Oh my God, where did they pluck Robert Downey Jr. from in terms of Iron Man? That is certainly true. He did briefly make this film though before Iron Man, and I think it was 2 years before. Was it 2 years, 3 years before it? So it was kind of a little nice stepping stone for him getting back in the business, I think we all appreciate that stepping stone that he's made. I'll quickly go into a small synopsis of the film. The film also stars Val Kilmer. And again, it's kind of that sort of buddy detective sort of mystery sort of film, like I've just briefly described from The Nice Guys. the film focus effectively sets up the film. Robert Downey Jr. is in a store stealing something for. I can't remember if it's possibly. I don't think we actually know who he's stealing something for, but it's a kid, could be a niece, could be a daughter. You don't know. I actually don't know off the top of my head. Effectively, then he gets caught. When the alarm goes off, he has to run away from the police. He stumbles upon in a audition room for a part. They think he's actually somebody there to do an audition, an actor. And it's a crime script that he's suddenly having to read. Because he's trying to avoid the cops, he goes, "Okay, I'll do this." But suddenly the actual script he's reading is something that's quite relevant to what has just occurred with his partner and what has just occurred with the crime he's just committed. And it's very, very, very. It's really, really funny. I really found it funny. By him sort of giving this quite emotional performance, suddenly the guy there, the casting director, suddenly goes, "Oh, we must invite this guy to a party somehow and get him involved in our scene." So he flies into LA to do a party, and then kind of things go all over the place from there. So, apologies, I'm moving this bloody camera around quite a lot here. I'm not positioned very well. Yeah. At this party, he meets different characters in association to what will then happen in the film. He meets a girl played by Michelle Monaghan, who it turns out actually is somebody he knew from his childhood. He very quickly learns that, so it's not a spoiler. And also he meets a character played by Val Kilmer called Gay Perry. And that is exactly what you think he is. He is actually a gay bodyguard. Of the individual who owns the property where the party is being held. Now, you don't want anyone to go into too much of the plot, because every sort of aspect of this, to discover it for yourself and to discover the humour for yourself and just the plot twists and things like that, is essential for enjoyment on this film. So, like I said, it's a twisting, turning crime. Again, it's a crime caper comedy. With some truly, first of all, fourth wall breaking in terms of just there's a narration going on by Downey Jr. during the film. That is quite a prominent thing that occurs in Shane Black's script, in which he will reference things. Oh, this is not what normally happens in this sort of film, is it? This is what's supposed to happen, and usually this would happen, and that's why they've managed to do that. That made no sense probably to people who are not familiar with Shane Black's scripts, but on quips and things like that, or as it's referred to on the internet, Shane Blackisms, I believe. So it's not your usual sort of film. Again, like I briefly said about the other one, this is probably a bit more, not less comedic, but a bit more. No, it's not even. No, they are damn similar, and they are damn similar in theme. I just felt it was. Again, I'm pretty much repeating myself, because the things I like about this film are exactly the same things I like about The Nice Guys. That dynamic of the two leads. There's a nice little. There's a perfect. So again, isn't there? Michelle Monaghan is effectively the Ryan Gosling's Andrew Rice character, only an adult helping them out, not the not the usual person who's going to be helping in that situation. But she's damn useful and helpful to the cause. So you can make damn good parallels between these two films, without a doubt. And in a way, in terms of that, you possible villains, you can small little things. But it's just a great film. It's a great film. It's a film I always tend to reference when although it's I do know a lot of people who have enjoyed it, but it's actually people who have watched a lot of films. It's not really it's more of a cult sort of film, I'd say, in terms of having found an audience. But it should be seen by a lot more people. It's a great film. It's funny. It's twisting. It's turning. It breaks conventions. It's breaking fourth walls, breaking film conventions all the time, and it's greatly enjoyable. And it's quite prominent for that fact that, in many ways, it's been referred to as Val Kilmer's character of Gay Perry is one of the first gay action stars, or openly gay action stars, characters in a film. And he's not ruled by his gender preference, if you will. His sexual preference, sorry, not gender preference. His sexual preference. it completely just, he's a character. That is his character. He's a person. Yeah, wonderful performance by Kilmer and Downey Jr. without a doubt. Some great support by Michelle Monaghan, and it's a greatly enjoyable film from Shane Black. This has made it a Shane Black special. That was my classic film of the week, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. My theatrically released film of the week was The Nice Guys, which again starring Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe, was superbly enjoyable and funny. Seek them both out, please, if you do. Shane Black is an individual writer and director who should be sought out, and more works of his should be seen. I thank you if you have for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed what I've had to say. If you have, please do subscribe to me, and I do hope to see you again very, very soon. Thank you again for watching, and goodbye.